Did we change the introduction at all? To mention wrong? Yeah, we need to make a new sheet for him to explain that we are being recorded and all that. That needs to be stated and clearly.
Kimberly's coming. I saw her downstairs.
I'll reimburse you.
Have we been asked that?
Okay, I think we'll get started here. We'll call the meeting to order of the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission, January 8th, 2019. And just to let the public know that we are being recorded and televised. So anything you say and do will be recorded and on the TV channel. So with that, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from December 4th, 2018. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ford,
Second.
second by Mr. McHugh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Items to be added to the agenda by commission members or staff.
Yes, I am going to, in my department head report, I'm going to discuss we've got an end of year report we're going to read to you. And then I am going to discuss paperless packets with you. And that's all I have.
Okay, is there anything else? Invitations for a sensitive scheduled time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Time limited to 5 minutes per person to address the board. And that's for anybody who would like to say something or visit with the board about any issues or anything on their mind. But seeing there's not anyone else here, so we'll move on. We need a motion to approve the agenda as read.
So moved.
Motion by Nelson and a second.
Second.
Second by Kleinzahn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is election of the officers for 2019. And I'll move that on to Mr. Hill.
Yes, at this time, I will accept nominations for chairperson of the commission.
Mr. Hill, there was a nominee committee appointed, myself and, can't even say his name. Randy Jensen.
Okay, give us your report then.
We decided to put forth a plate of Bob Rochelle for chair and Kimberly Lankowitz for vice chair.
Thank you. And at this time, are there any, we've got Rochelle Linkovich. We'll do the chairperson first. We'll go back to Rochelle. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations cease, and I would entertain someone to make a motion to cast a unanimous ballot for Mr. Rochelle. That's where you guys speak out.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Rochelle, it's you to elect the vice chair. Congratulations.
And we have a nomination for Ms. Lankwitz for vice chairman. Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? Hearing none, is there someone who would like to cast a unanimous vote for Kimberly Lankowitz for vice chair?
So moved.
Motion by Ford,
Second.
second by Kleinjohn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm Robert Hill, the Director of the County Development, and we'd like to welcome Chairman of the County Commission, Mike Bartley, to the board. And I'll just go around real fast. Roger Erickson is one of our alternates. Terrell Spence, Chad Ford, Darrell Kleinjohn, Darrell Nelson, Kimberly Elankovich, Michael McHugh, Robert Rochelle's the chairman of the board, and then we got Tom Davis over here on this side, are our board members. So I did want to welcome you. I should have done it. Welcome. Now it's back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Need to read the opening statement. Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision plats, and amendments thereof to the Brookings County Commission. The Commission makes its recommendation based upon the adopted comprehensive plan for the physical development of the unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. After a motion is moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall, in turn, give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the Commission shall recommend approval or disapproval based on the testimony and the information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward a recommendation. And with that, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, the consideration of plats. A, 2019 plat 001, plat of lots 1 and 2 of Davis Farms Addition in the southeast 1/4 of section 1, township 110 north, range 50 west, the 5th prime meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. And, Mr. Hagen?
Yes. Davis Farms is applied for a plat. They're plating off lot 1 is 14.79 acres of an existing farmstead building site. And lot 2 is 5 acres on the 168-acre parcel that they own. Tom's son Will actively farms with his dad and is planning on building a residence on lot 2. And lot 2 is being platted for financial purposes for financing of the new home that will be tied to the original remaining 140 acres of farm ground. The property is located within the Brookings County, Brookings City 3-mile joint jurisdiction area. The Brookings City Planning Department has reviewed the plat and has no objections, and the plat is in the agricultural zoned area in which Brookings County has jurisdiction over this. And it meets our platting requirements of the 2016 comprehensive plan. This is the plat of the main original 14 acres farmstead. This is the 5 acres right here that they're adjacent to that. This is the beacon map with the parcels in red outlined here. This is the main farm, lot 1. This is lot 2, the 5 acres. This is 42nd Street north of town here. This is the Sundial Addition off to the west here a little farther. This is just the beacon map showing the full parcel. And that's all that I have.
Okay, we need a motion to approve
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Motion by Ford, second by McHugh. Questions, comments from the board?
It's in the joint jurisdictional area. It's a good idea.
Anyone in the audience have anything to say for or against this plat? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open it back up to the board. This is pretty straightforward. We've done several of these in the past. It's going to be attached back to the real estate surrounding it. Further comments, questions? Call the roll.
Bartley.
Aye.
McHugh.
Aye.
Yelankowicz.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Spence.
Aye.
And Erickson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Oh, Rochelle.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on. 2018 plat 002, plat of lot 1, Stevenson addition in the south one half of section 20, township 109 north, range 52 west, of the 5th prime meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. And again, I'll let Richard start.
Yes, Don Evenson is planning off lot 1 in the Evenson addition in the south half of section 20, township 109 north, range 52 west, the 5th prime meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. 37.2 acres of land is what it will be, and he owns property in the southeast and the southwest quarters of section 20. And the land is primarily grass and wetlands area. It does meet the plating requirements of the 2016 comprehensive plan. It's kind of an odd shape. This is the southwest quarter. They're adding this triangle shaped piece in with this piece in the southeast quarter. This L-shaped piece is going to be a unique shaped lot here on lot 1, Township Road over here. Shows the parcel on the beacon map in red, what it would look like. On here, this is mainly grass and cattails and wetland areas. 456th Avenue right along on the east side for access. There's just the beacon map. Come up here and include this little triangle piece right here. Yeah, this is the southwest border. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Motion by McHugh, second.
Second.
Second by Spence. Questions, comments? Well, the board's thinking about some questions, does open it up to the public. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this plat? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion, back to the board. Again, this is pretty straightforward. With GPS technology, it's really easy to identify these odd-shaped parcels like this. It's pretty straightforward, so. Other comments, questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
McHugh.
Aye.
Yelankowicz.
Aye.
Nelson.
Aye.
Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Spence.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Bartley.
Aye.
Rochelle.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power to hear requests for variances, conditional uses, appeals, and special exceptions. A concurring vote of 2/3 of the attending members is necessary for approval of any action by the board. A 9-member board requires 6 votes, and a 6-member board requires 6 votes. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve a request before the request can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. The board, under specific powers granted by the state, shall authorize variances from the zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner shall not constitute proof of unnecessary hardship. With that, move on to agenda item number 8. 2019 variant 001, Jacob Crevier has made an application 2019 variant 001 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance. Article 11, Section 1101A, Agricultural District. Area Regulation Number 2, Front Yard. The minimum depth of a front yard shall be 100 feet. The corner lot will have 2 front yards. The property described as the south 345.4 feet, of the east 378.4 feet, of the north 1/2, of the northeast 1/4, of Section 22, Township 109 North, Range 48 West, which is in Parnell Township, located at 21725 482nd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota, 57026. Is there a motion to approve?
So
Chair.
moved.
Second.
Motion by Lankwitz, second by Nelson. Richard?
Yes, this is variance 2019 VAR 001. This is an after-the-fact variance request. Jacob Crevier applied for variance to allow an 8-foot wide by 40-foot long structure, a converted shipping container, 92 feet from the center of 482nd Avenue, a variance of 42 feet. The required setback is 133 feet from the center of 482nd Avenue. The applicant plans to build a new residence on the property, remove the existing manufactured home, and relocate the studio and shop to where the existing manufactured home is located within the setback requirements on the property. This will be a temporary variance for 2 years to allow the construction of his new residence. He has visited with Parnell Township on the variance, and they did stop by and dropped off a letter. You received that this evening, saying they have no objections to the variance request, and he is also applying for a conditional use for a home extended business, also this evening, that we will hear later on. The space is limited by the location of his existing residence, the existing buildings, his driveway, the septic system, the well, utilities, and the lay of the land near his buildings, so his available space was limited. There. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on December 24th and 31st, 2018, and in the Elkton Record on December 20th, 2018, and January 3rd, 2019. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Parnell Township Chairman and Clerk. Like I said, we did receive a comment from the township stating they have no objections to the variance request. Here's his application. Site plan. 182nd Avenue. This is the current location of his trailer. It's 92 feet from the center of the road. His driveway, existing buildings. Along in here is as his water well, and his drain field is back over here, and the lay of the land drops off. It's lower area back in here, so this is his location, temporary location for right now. This is just the beacon map of the property. There's the location, the house, the garage. Eventually, he would build a new house somewhere on his property, and this existing, as of right now, his plans are to move the existing home off, move the shop over to this area or another location on his property to meet the setback requirements. So just looking in from the road towards towards the west, this is his portable building that he's asking for the variance on. There's his existing garage. Their existing house off over here. 92 feet is at the center, at the northeast corner of the building from the center of the road. Just other buildings and looking towards the building site there. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Mr. Crevier, do you want to come up and add on to anything that Richard left out?
I guess the only thing I would add on is that
Please identify yourself.
my name is Jacob Crevier. I did not realize that there was any type of setbacks or any type of variances, and so I lost my wife in 2017, and so we needed to move closer to my parents so that we could have help with the kids. Thankfully, I have found someone to marry me and with the kids. And so we moved. I moved my jewelry business from down in Turner County in Hurley up here, and so I just put the building there, not realizing, because it is a portable storage, not realizing that I would need to do any type of building permit or variance until after I had planned on moving it to its actual spot where it's going to sit. And the plan is to move it into the spot where the house is now, and then we are planning on building a house hopefully behind the shed, or if I can convince the landowner beside me to sell a few acres over here on this side over there. And so I put it there not realizing that there's any type of thing. Richard kindly stopped by and let me know that there was an issue, and so I want to make sure that I am in full compliance with everything. So.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from the board?
I'm pleased that it's, there's gonna be a 2-year time limit on this. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep, until he has given him time to get his house constructed and things re-situated on his lot, and then
Yeah.
get it relocated to meet the setbacks.
So, like you said, it will be, the new structure plans to be in with the setbacks or whatever, to meet the setbacks.
Right. New location, it will be moved from that location or to meet the setback requirements.
Okay.
Mr. Crevier, it would not bother you to have, after the home is built and the manufactured home is removed, and then the storage trailer or the shop, it won't bother you to have that in front of the house, between the house and the road?
Well, I'm limited with where I can do it, and I don't really want to have to move the house to build another house on there, because as bad as the house is, we kind of have to have a place to live while I'm building something else. So if I have to, I will build behind it. I have also considered moving the existing garage/building that's on there as well and building the house there instead. But I am not, the plan is to build it back in that right behind over here. There's trees over here. There's trees, go down a little bit, right there. So there are trees there, existing trees right now. And so the plan would be to build it somewhere in there and then put the studio up by the house, probably not in the same area, and probably not exactly parallel with the road, but perhaps maybe tilted at a little bit of an angle. But yes, I mean, I'm dealing with basically what I have. So I've been talking to Burlage about getting some land over here, and I've put a couple offers in on existing land on a couple of acres over there, and we're in negotiation for getting a couple of acres. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but I would like to get some land over there. The land is in a trust, and so there's some hoops, special hoops we have to jump through to be able to get that. But if we did, the idea would be to take 2 to 3 acres and replat it into a single acre place and then put the house on, because the way the land lays, if you see that creek bed right there, the land, the highest point on the property is basically right where the studio is, right there, that orange piece. That's the highest point on the property. So the land slopes one way and it slopes the other way. And when I was originally planning on putting the studio in there, I was planning on putting it actually on the other side over there by the house. The problem is that when I went to put it in there, it was just really, really wet, and the ground was really squishy, and the guy who came in with the truck said, I can set it right here, and I said, sounds good, do it a little bit of an angle so it doesn't cut my driveway off, and that's what he did.
Just to let you know, are you aware there's a side yard setback?
Yes, that's where there's what is the side yard? It's like what, 20 foot setback? 25 foot setback. Do I have that on, is that on the variance as well?
Yes, yep, that is on there also, that should be there.
It's for both of them, correct? Yes. If I need to, I can technically move the studio onto the driveway to meet that. I'm like 15 feet off of it, so I can technically move it off of there. I'd prefer not to, but if that's what it takes to be able to fill this variance, that would be, I'm willing to do that. But like I said, my driveway basically ran right there, and that's where the gravel was run, so I just went ahead and put it on the grass on the other side of that. If I have to move it into the driveway, we can go around it. It shouldn't be too much of an issue.
I was thinking more also for the future is to make sure that you have enough room. Your side setback of 25 feet, even if you buy some more land, that gives you more room, but still be aware you still have 25 feet to worry about.
So our existing site is 3 acres now. So if I get 2 more acres, it will basically double. If I get 3 more acres, it'll double the size. If I get 2 more acres, that's like what he's circling there is probably about an acre, and that's probably about an acre. So if you just go down, probably about right there, that's going to be 2 acres, and there's not going to be any issue. I'm planning on not planning on building a crazy big house. I've been debating. I've been looking around and seeing people who build big houses and people who build small ones, and I'm debating on to whether to, how big to build it, but we're not planning on building anything probably over 3,000 square feet. It won't be any bigger than that. So, and then of course with the garage as well.
If you obtain that property, do you plan to build a house on that property?
I'm sorry, say that again?
If you get the extra 2 acres.
Yes, I'm going to build on this.
This site, no matter what.
No matter what, yes. Yeah, I mean, unless something comes up in Brookings County so I was able to buy this piece of property. The reason I was able to get it is because it has a modular home on it. And in Brookings, and with being able to get a loan for it, it's very difficult for people to get a loan on a place with a modular house. And so I was able to snap this up, whereas other people who were looking for acreages in this area probably wouldn't have been able to do that. As you know, Brookings County has a rule for 35 acres of land, and so when this came up, it's like 3 miles from my parents, and there wasn't anything else available, and I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it. The house is not very good, but it was doable at the time.
Other questions from the board? Did I open it up to the public yet? Does the public have anything to say for or against? Probably not. We'll close the public portion. Back to the board again. Further comments, questions? Richard, call the roll.
Go over the findings of facts here.
Oh.
Application for a variance having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Jacob Carvier regarding the following real property. South 345.4 feet, east 378.4 feet of the north half and northeast 1/4, section 22, township 109 north, range 48 west, Parnell Township. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the 8th day of January 2019. Number 1, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that the strict application of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, and such hardship does not share generally by other properties in the same district in the same vicinity, that authorization of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property, and the character of the district will not be changed by the granting of the variance, and that granting of such variance is based upon reasonable, demonstrable, and exceptional hardship as distinguished from the variations for purposes of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby further findings that the condition or situation of the property concerned or the intended use of the property is not so general or reoccurring in nature as to make reasonable, practical the formation of a general regulation to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances exist which shall procure you to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district, that literal interpretation of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of the ordinance, that the special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, and that granting of the variance requested will not confer the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further findings that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance, that the variance is a minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure, the granting of the variance be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, contingent upon approval of 2019 conditional use 001. B, the existing building site is limited by location of existing residence, outbuildings, septic system, well, utilities, and the lay of the land. C, Parnell Township has no objections to the variance request. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. Temporary, after the fact variance to locate an existing structure 92 feet from the center of 482nd Avenue till a new home is built and relocated to meet the setback requirements. Variance is valid for 2 years, expires on January 8th, 2021. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above, upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 2 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated the 8th day of January 2019.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings? Not. Richard, call the roll.
Elikowicz,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Feinjohn,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Spence,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Rochelle,
Aye.
and McHugh.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Moving on. 2019 conditional use 001. Jacob Crevier has made an application 2019 conditional use 001 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use. Article 11, Section 1101A, Agricultural District, conditional use permit number 20, home extended business. Property is described as the south 345.4 feet, of the east 378.4 feet, of the north 1/2, of the northeast 1/4 of section 22, township 109 north, range 48 west, which is in Parnell Township, located at 21725 482nd Avenue, Elkton, South Dakota 57026. With that, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Bartley.
Second.
I don't know who said it first, but second by McHugh. Mr. Hagen?
Yes, conditional use 2019 CU 001. Jacob Crevier has applied for conditional use permit number 20 for a home extended business. He has a jewelry making business in a studio or shop located on a building in his property. Metal used in making jewelry is not limited to but clasps, hooks, chains, and precious metals, which are delivered in small packages by UPS, FedEx, or US mail. When the jewelry is completed, it is shipped out the same way. He has 2 or 3 shipments a week, depending on the orders. His residence or shop are located on 482nd Avenue, which is a Parnell Township gravel road, approximately 1/4 mile south of the US Highway, or South Dakota Highway 324, the state highway. The hours of operation will be by appointment only with no walk-in traffic. And it meets a comprehensive land use for a home extended business for Brookings County. Pages 72 and 73 of the 2016 Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Mr. Crevier also applied for a variance, temporary variance for the location of the studio, which is closer to which we just heard this evening. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on December 24th and 31st, 2018, and the Elkton Record on December 20th, 2018, and January 3rd, 2019. And letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Parnell Township Chairman and Clerk. And like earlier, we did receive comment from the township stating they have no objections to the conditional use request. This is conditional use application. This business plan stating it has maybe one client a week. Most of its business is online or out of state. Deliveries are by FedEx or US mail. Do not keep regular business hours, and they do not have walk-ins. Everything will be by appointment only. Just not planning on putting a sign out front or a light with jewelry shop or anything on there for that. Site plan again, proposed shop is right here. In the beacon map showing the location, 482nd Avenue, 324 is located to the north, right up here. Just his studio or shop right here, big walk-in doors, shop area right here. There is no plumbing or septic or water in there, it's just electricity and air conditioning and heating at this time, so there is no utilities in the building, so, and that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Mr. Crevier, please come forward, identify yourself again, and tell us anything that Richard left out.
My name is Jacob Crevier. Like he said, I specialize in designing, fabricating, and making custom jewelry. I am probably one of the only places in this area, besides Sioux Falls, that actually hand makes jewelry to this extent. I am the only shop on the, as far as I know, on the eastern side of the state that does my own platinum casting. I do everything in-house. I make small individual pieces. I don't manufacture multiple pieces. Everything I make is one of a kind. Like he said, there's not any type of crazy trucks driving in or showing up. I don't plan on putting any signs out for security purposes, as well as for most of my stuff is online, or people see my through online or with like a business card. I don't do like walk-ins. Everything is by appointment. So.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Do you have employees?
Nobody but myself.
And 4 future ones.
Yes. Actually, 5 future ones.
I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses.
No, there is only 4 over there, but my wife is pregnant.
Jacob, I can tell you're artistic by your signature on this. This is an impressive signature. That's artistic.
Well, my jewelry work is a lot better than my signature.
You haven't seen mine. I can actually read yours.
I just have to make a comment, this is aside from the planning and zoning, but with a business like this and off the main road like that, you may want to think about the camera system and/or bars, maybe on the doors and windows, some sort of surveillance or something, so.
Yes, yeah, so I do have a camera system set up from the house. I don't have one set up in the studio, but there is a plan to eventually set it up in the studio as well. I have a large safe, and everything gets put into the safe. And I don't keep a lot of stuff on hand, you know? I mean, if somebody were to, you know, like I don't have display cases with jewelry out. There's not anything like that. So I mean, if somebody were to come in and rob me, they'd be better off stealing like my equipment, you know? And then if they sold that, I don't know where the heck they'd sell it, you know? So most of my stuff tends to be, if I'm working on a piece, I'm working on, 1 or 2 pieces at a time, and I order everything in. I can have something there the next day anyway. So there's not any reason for me to hold any type of large amounts of metal or put that amount of capital into stuff that's just going to sit there.
So it's pretty much in and out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I think if somebody actually did, I think they'd be very disappointed.
So no business hours
Nope.
and no Brinks trucks delivering gold bars.
I wish.
If it does, will you tell me what time it is?
I think it's a good idea that you not have signage.
And that's why I don't have
For that
signage.
reason,
As a matter of fact, if you look at my Google listing, Google required me to have a sign, and so I had a sign that I used for like shows and stuff, for like bridal shows or whatever, and so I stuck that up on the side of it. It's not anything great, but I stuck that up on the side of it, took a couple pictures for my Google business, and then took the sign down because they require to see a sign or else they will not allow you to be listed on Google. So,
What do you have to hold that down for a windstorm?
well, so nothing as of now, but the plan is before this tornado weather comes, to have some type of those anchors that they use in trailer home parks or whatever. There's those screw anchors that you can get. So because it's a shipping container, it already has holes on the corners and stuff. So basically I would just screw those in the ground on all 4 corners and then tie it down. The thing is, let's just say this, that the house would go and the building would go probably before that thing would even move, because it is extremely heavy. It has not, as a matter of fact, I have it sitting on pilings right now, and it's actually sinking the pilings into the ground right now. So it has probably dropped about 4 inches down from where it was. And so the plan, obviously this is just a temporary spot as of now.
Mr. Hill?
Mr. Chairman, Bob Hill, Director. Yeah, you'll need to come in and get a building permit, pay for a building permit, and when you obtain the building permit, we'll require you to have the tie downs. And then
Yep.
our building inspector will have to go out and take a look at them.
Okay.
That's part of after the fact.
Yep.
We just, we didn't state it when we did the variance. That's part of the after the fact.
And he was made aware of that when he came in for the variance, so that he needed to be permanently secured.
Again, we'll have to open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against this?
No objections.
Okay, then we'll close the public portion and come back to the board again. Further comments, questions? Pretty straightforward. We've done this several times, so. Seeing none, Richard, call the roll.
We'll go over the findings of facts here. Application for a conditional use permit having been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment Copy of the application be attached here too. Such application be made by Jacob Premier regarding the following real property. South 345.4 feet of east 378.4 feet of the north half, northeast 1/4, section 22, township 109 north, range 48 west, Cornell Township. After due notice of public hearing having been held on the application on the 8th day of January 2019. Number one, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby findings that it is empowered to grant such a conditional use under following sections of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Article 11, Section 11.01A Agricultural District, Conditional Use Permit Number 20, Home Extended Business. Further finding that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds and certifies that the following rules governing the conditional use request have been complied with. None stated. Number three, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following were applicable. A, entrance and exit to the property and proposed structure therein, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow, and control and access in case of fire or catastrophe. Will use the existing driveway. B, off-street parking loading areas were required with particular attention to the item A above and the economic noise, glare, and other effects of the special exception on adjoining properties with properties generally in the district. No on-street parking allowed. C, utilities, refuge, and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. None stated. D, screening and buffering with reference to type, dimensions, and character. None stated. E, signs if any, proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, compatibility, and harmony, and properties in the district. If you do decide to put up a sign, 16 square foot sign would be allowed. F, required yards and other open spaces. None stated. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district. Comprehensive plan requirements met for the agricultural district. Number four, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further findings, further determines and conditions this conditional use permit upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. Home extended business, of custom jewelry design and repair. Brookings County Board of Adjustment by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership hereby grants the above petitioner a conditional use permit for the above described real property as follows. Conditional use permit number 20, a home extended business for custom jewelry design and repair. This conditional use is specifically conditioned upon initial and continuing compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use permit. If this conditional use permit is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated this 8th day of January 2019.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings? Hearing none, Richard, call the roll.
Nelson.
Aye.
Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Spence.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Bartley.
Aye.
Yelankowicz.
Aye.
McHugh.
Aye.
Rochelle.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. We got some paperwork, we'll give it to you in just a second.
Moving on. Next item on the agenda is the department reports. Mr. Hill.
Yes, we are waiting to, in just a second, if everyone wants to turn towards the board, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. 2018 was the second best year we had in building permits. We had a total of $142,674,575 worth of construction that was done. Our record year, just for your information, is 2010. That's when they built the big Buffalo Ridge 2 wind tower site in 2010. And this year, what helped us, obviously, we do have a wind farm, but in looking at our records, we also have 15 new barns worth over $11 million being built. And a lot of those are conditional use hog operations that we did permit. But this was given out to the county commission this morning. Basically, it just lists the chairperson, vice chairperson, my staff. We had 11 regularly scheduled meetings, 1 joint city-county planning commission meeting, 1 special meeting, 1 work session, 4 subcommittees. Basically, the ag subcommittee met 4 times. 25 conditional uses were granted. We actually heard 29. 25 was granted. 1 was denied. 3 were withdrawn. We heard 19 variance requests, and we're quite proud that 3 of them were denied, and 1 was canceled by the applicant as not being needed. 23 plats, which was good. Rezoning, we had 2 rezoning requests. 1 passed, 1 did not pass. We had 1 appeal, which was denied. We had several ordinances, parts of the ordinance that we did review, Articles 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10, the Article 6 under administration, and some of the other ones. We're still working on the ordinance update. We've got a new state attorney, and we will get that process started back again, and you'll be hearing about that. Probably February, March. It might be March by the time we can get back to it, since he's a new state's attorney. And we have received assistance throughout the year from the First District Association of Local Governments. All the staff, all 3 of us, attended the South Dakota Planners Association conference held in Huron, and 1 board member, Mr. Erickson, attended that in Huron. We issued 192 building permits, and the cost over $142 million. We received building permit fees of $158,653. That's revenue coming into the county, and inspection fees of $22,400. And just going down, some of the grain bins, we had 11 this year. I do not have a track record of how many we've had in the past, but 11 grain bins, 5 new ones, 6 new ones, 5 used, several manufactured homes. Our new residences, which is always a good number to take a look at, is 14 new houses were built and 3 remodels. So we still have 128 inspections open from 2006 all the way up to 2018 or 19 now. So sometimes it's extremely hard for us to get in and look at those inspections. Right now, we've got our old inspections whittled down to 2008 and 2010 are the oldest ones. So our inspector, who's Steve Hughes, has been doing a good job for us. And this will be put online for everyone to look at. And my next topic is, I brought Mr. Plowman. He's our IT special guy, whatever. He's got some fancy title. It slips my mind right now. What we are looking at is possibly going paperless. This month you've got a little packet. Everyone saw the little packet. Some months, of course, you bring in a packet that's 3 or 4 inches thick. And it's been brought to our attention, we can go paperless, and it won't be painless. It costs money, obviously. But what we're looking at doing is possibly buying a tablet. Now, don't get excited. We're not talking these fancy iPads for thousands of dollars and stuff like that. We're talking a tablet, just something that we're bouncing around the idea. And this was brought to my attention by Richard and Ray Lynn and whoever else. But a tablet costs about $150 each. And the proposal would be, if you guys think it's workable, would we get one for everyone, which would be 9 board members and the 2 alternates? You'd have to do it for everyone, so everyone's fully prepared. We could probably get by with mine by taking one out, because the county commission, they have a tablet type device, but I think we're still going to request the full number of 11, because we want to have one in reserve in case somebody drops one or something like that. We can just slide it in real fast. But
Bob,
yes, sir.
if I could interject, we're actually planning on 12.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry. I saw that here.
Just so
Could you
that,
come up to the,
that's okay, I'm not on TV anyway.
This is Sean Plowman. He is our.
I'm the IT support specialist for Brookings County.
There you go.
Mr. Hill, I did go with 12, just so that if one does fall, break, we're deliberately not getting top of the line. We're getting something that works, functions well, and does what we need it to. If it does break, we did want to have a spare one on hand. Additionally, the Planning and Zoning Office would like to have one just to make sure that things are getting to where they should be. So then they can look at it and say, okay, yes, it's what should be there is there, and they're able to confirm that basically the files are present.
Because what we would use, we'd use a thing like online storage. It's called the cloud, and it would either be through Dropbox or there's other names for it. And the county, of course, would do all that. I guess the big question is, everyone obviously has internet, some sort of internet at home, from what I understand. And
the question is, does anyone not have it?
yeah, I
What
guess.
do you define as internet?
Pardon?
Mobile hotspot.
Can you download an electronic file from if we send it to you, or if I had a box? If I had an online cloud, do you have the capability of going somewhere and downloading it onto your tablet?
Is it a problem if my 10-year-old helps?
I'd fully expect that to happen.
Get internet service to your house.
The
All
way-
I got is my phone that works. I do not have internet at my house. I can't get it.
If your phone has capabilities, you can download from Dropbox with your phone.
I guess I would have to. Is there? Yeah.
Mobile hotspot, I think.
It's a
Or
mobile hotspot, which would work.
Right. That goes to the 10-year-old, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
or you could even possibly. You don't work in Brookings, I don't presume. Yeah.
I think the logistics of that could be worked out.
Good.
well, and realistically, Mr. Hill indicated paperless. Realistically, we're just going for less paper.
I mean, if it came down to it, we could just plan to drive out, pick up your tablet, bring it into where we got internet, and load it up and bring it back to you.
Yeah.
It's just logistics. And I could go out and look and see who hasn't gotten building permits while I'm driving to your place.
The best patrolled stretch you have.
Okay, so I guess what's the board think? Is that doable, not doable, acceptable, not acceptable? Any comments?
I'm willing to try.
It's if the county commission approves it, that's all we could ask.
One thing I think all of you have to realize, even with Dropbox, because that's how the county commission gets our information, even on an iPad, it's kind of small. And I think the tablets you're talking about how big are they?
They're 10.2 inches diagonal. So
Reasonable
they're,
size.
Yeah.
I think your iPad is 9.7 inches, so slightly bigger.
Mine's probably bigger than that, but as long as you understand that as you look at it, you can sometimes make it bigger out of Dropbox. You can go through it. It's different than paper, but once you get used to it, it's much more efficient.
If you have Android phones or Android-based phones, it's going to be the exact same thing.
Don't worry.
Yes.
If you don't have an iPhone, that's a smartphone. You probably have an Android one.
Well, I'm not hearing a lot of opposition.
This is the future. We are going to be getting rid of paper, and we are Majority of, or not everybody, I'm sure, uses the internet and/or reads things constantly on a daily basis on the screen. So this is just part of what we're gonna be doing in the future. This is what we need to do.
Can we use our own iPad we have ourselves already?
That would be up to Mr. Plowman, if you could be provided access to our Dropbox. By it being a cloud, I guess the security, there's some security stuff on that may or may not.
It depends on what our requirements are for accounts. If we, I've been talking with two different organizations. One is Dropbox, the other one is Box.com. Box.com has some security things that make it more attractive to government. So we're looking at utilizing that just kind of generally for the county.
I was only looking at this as an aspect of, I already have one.
Yep.
Let's not spend another $100 or whatever it is of the
Yep.
of county money.
And in the event we go with that particular company, each one of you will have your own account. You're not going to, I'm planning on taking care of all of the setup, taking care of all the configuration, all of basically the legwork, just making sure it works. So if you have your own device and don't want a different device, I don't have a problem connecting your device to it.
Yeah, and by saying Dropbox, is it gonna be a two-way type thing, or just we feed it to them?
We can have it any way we want, really. If we want each of them to be able to put their own things in there for future meetings or for future reference, we can do that. Otherwise, there is the read-only capability where they're just able to pull down what's in there.
And those are just details that we could. But my next step then would be to go with Mr. Plowman, and we would go to the county commission and see if it's, right now it's not fully, I don't have $2,041.56 sitting in my budget at this time, but sometimes the county commission, just on the cost of savings, I'm thinking we could probably save $2,000 pretty easy just on copying fees in a year, let alone 2 years.
Postage.
Oh, yeah.
At 1 year, we estimated breaking even. At 2 years, it was gravy.
Dale did bring up a good point, like circling stuff and.
Yeah, if you're read-only, then I can't highlight anything.
Well, the one thing I like, as soon as I get here, the first thing I do, I look down the agenda, add anything that usually Bob says, and I set that aside, and I'm looking at it while I'm looking at the fancy pictures.
Well, you'd have your number one, we can, a copy of the agenda, I've got no problem giving
Just
everyone
one
at the night of the
sheet
meeting,
for all of us?
for everyone.
Okay.
And then two, we'd expect you to bring your tablet with you, so as we're looking at something, and if, we'd have to check into the part about, some programs let you highlight and circle, and some don't, I guess.
I'm not entirely sure what
We don't know on that one yet.
I would have to, I would need to demo it, which is,
Hard to know.
it's part
So
of the
would
evaluation
they be in
process.
conjunction with monitors in the main room? In other words, during the meeting, all the displays are on that monitor. Would they also be on the tablet too?
No, it would be whatever's on your tablet is what you want to be on the tablet.
Yeah, and we
So
still
if
have
you
the
were-
monitor, you'd still be in our main
Still
meeting
be
will be.
using the monitor?
Yeah, we'll still be using the monitor.
Yep, unless you were following along on your tablet. And then you could probably go without the monitor.
To give you an example, at the county commission meetings, I bring my iPad, and I've got a Dropbox in there. Now, there may be something I'm looking ahead of the agenda that I want to talk about on my iPad, and I can pick it out real quick in my head, the topic, and find it, rather than going through all the papers to try and shuffle for it. Now, the main screen is what I look at, is what's being presented through staff. But the iPad is a nice reference to be able to, I want to go back to that other comment. Where was that referenced in here? So the iPad or your tablet being here allows you to go back and look at things and move ahead a little bit, even as the discussions are going on.
And you'd have a notepad type thing on the tablet that you could make little notes
You can.
You
We're always presented with a written agenda.
Well,
obviously.
yeah, no, I'd expect to have an agenda.
And we scribble on that also during the meeting. We add things, and we delete things or whatever. I make those notes on paper copy.
So, Mike, am I understanding this right? You do get this physical sheet
Yeah.
and everything, okay.
Yeah, we get the physical sheet at every meeting.
What happens with JFO packets? Like the,
That would still be
Chances
up
are,
to-
the big packet, the big things that we give, chances are we'd still bring those out.
Yeah.
Because we require,
Would you mail
the
them
ordinance, the ordinance requires 11 copies to be delivered to us.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that paper's not gonna all disappear
No.
here,
Well,
especially with the learning curve we got moving forward, so.
But even now, if it's a big packet, and if we're running late, we have called, I know Mr. Rochelle, I've dropped packets off at his house in one of his trucks before, and we got the capability, if we have to get it to you, we can get it to you quickly.
I didn't know if you were gonna, like that Bobcat Farms packet we had, if we were gonna have to.
You know, we do put that stuff on the internet, we do put those
online
packets.
already.
That's
we-
all online?
Yeah, we
It's
put
all
all those.
scanned in
It's
already.
all scanned in already.
Okay.
So some of it you wouldn't even have to download onto your tablet. It's literally there now on the internet.
That was quite a packet.
Or it could be put in Dropbox or.
Yep.
Does the engineering firm do the digital form? You do
Usually,
it?
well, up until now we haven't asked for it in digital form.
Okay.
Usually we get it, we pull out the binder, and Raylan sits there and scans everything in. And the only thing is, once we start the Dropbox, and if the files get to be too large, we would divide them up, and you might get five files for one meeting's packet, just so we can keep the size down. But other than that, so I'll go ahead and I'll take that to the county commission, and we'll keep you updated at a later meeting. This time, Mr. Chairman, I'd like Mr. Mueller, he's got some information about a planning conference coming up.
Sure, thank you. I wanted to just bring up Planners Conference. Mr. Hill had pointed out that had some attendance there, and for the 10 years I've been here, and I was on that board, and the president the last couple of years, but on that board for 7 years. Everything I heard was from this board, and frankly, Cuyahoga County, Hamlin County, most of our county boards, is that the week before pheasant season sucks to try to hold a planners conference, especially for ag base. So what we did at last year's conference, and it was the last thing I did before I signed off as president, was we set out to set up another day as well. So what we've done is, first part I'm going to back up and point out that next year's planners conference, the normal one, the October one, will be here. It'll be in Brookings County. Your staff, along with city staff, along with SDSU, are all kind of working together to try to have something that's going to be, I think there's probably going to be a lot more unique to Brookings sort of things on there, as well as our standard. But moving on to what's different is that we're going to have, every year the County Commissioners Association has a spring workshop in March, and it's in Pier this year. And so March 13th and 14th is that workshop. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. We've worked with the Association of Counties to essentially commandeer an afternoon. I don't have whether it will be Wednesday or Thursday yet, but planning commission members, whether they're county commissioners or not, will be invited to attend that. And right now, I don't have speakers confirmed yet. However, it's all people that will be voluntold more than likely, including myself. But we are going to have we'll have one that I think yours is okay, but it'll be called So You Think Your Zoning Ordinance is Okay. That'll be the Tales of Woe from myself, and also Pennington County went through something similar as well about the importance of adopting things properly. Notices follow, just because state law says this, you better make sure your ordinance doesn't say something different, i.e. Brookings County. And next one would be how to run an effective Board of Adjustment meeting. I've done that over the last year and a half. I plan on having that those words come out of someone else's mouth, which is the planning director in District 3 out of Yankton. Have it come a little bit differently. And then second half of this would be, we'd have conflict of interest and ex parte contacts discussion. The intent is to bring Jack Heeb and Zach Peterson back. Roger, did you hear them speak when you went to there? Essentially, it's going to be that presentation to really parse, exactly. Essentially to parse the difference between your roles as a planning commission member and a board of adjustment member, where it gets tricky of, can I talk to you or not? And at what phases, and you have a conflict, no I don't, and that sort of thing. The other thing that will be handy is that presentation was born out of some lawsuits that started about 6 months ago, of which we've been fortunate enough to have several more land in my lap. So bottom line is there will be some case law established between here and there, I anticipate, with regards to that. So that'll be what adds on to it. So it'll be that, and then the last part will be, we're going to call it Planners Roundtable, in which we'll talk about how, give the opportunity for anybody that's in the audience, any of the planning commissioners, to ask questions about how do you handle this, how do other places do that. We'll have some canned topics about feedlots and wind ordinances, because those are, everyone in our neck of the woods is handling, frankly, everyone across the state is handling that. And really, those are the free-for-alls. I'll be on that. Chairperson, or my executive director, Todd, will be on that. And I anticipate we'll have Toby Brown. He's the president of the Planners Association now in Lincoln County. He's the zoning officer there. He'll be on it, and I'll probably commandeer McGinnis again to do that from District 3. So a lot of it's going to be done. The planning districts are going to be presenting a lot of it, is what I anticipate. But I think that's going to be an opportunity for you to come to, if it's going to be the best shot. I know that for some of you who have animals that may still not be excellent, but it's going to be the best I can do at this point, aside from having the one here in Brookings, but that'll be probably the last time in 10 years again. But I will get the actual date to you when we'll have it figured out by the end of the week, honestly, but I'll send it on to your staff, and I'll ask you guys to remind them, because I will not be here for the February meeting. This is my warning that I won't be here for the February meeting. So, and I figured that a week ahead of time probably isn't enough for you to make arrangements if you're planning on attending when I come to March. So.
Well, we'll get the dates from Mr. Mueller, and we do have to be careful, because it sounds like the county commission's van now is being used by the sheriff's office to transport prisoners. So, if I can get a big bunch of you that want to go, then I may end up having to rent a van to take you out there if that van's being used. Once again, it's just details that we can work out. So once we get the fixed dates, Raylyn will send it out to you via email, paperless, and start looking at your schedules and let us know. And we'll talk about it during the February meeting and try to lock in transportation and stuff like that.
And I'll tell you, it'll be the 13th or the 14th. I anticipate it'll probably be the 14th, but I'm not going to tell you that for sure until I can tell you by the end of this week.
Okay. And that's all we've got, Mr. Chairman.
March meeting, first Tuesday, on township meetings.
Oh, yeah, they're in March. All the townships are having their meetings the first Tuesday of the month, apparently.
First Tuesday following the first Monday.
So, and we also got a zoning meeting scheduled the same night. How many of you attend your township meetings?
Pretty sure Randy does too.
Yeah, Randy probably will be.
Probably 3.
Okay, so we'd still have, pardon?
You and I would.
No, these are the individual townships, not the big one at the Swiftel Center. Oh, yeah, you and me were.
You will be gone to DC.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
do
keep
we
you
want
straight, don't worry about it.
to reschedule then or not?
That's up to the board, that's why we brought it to your attention. Yeah, I will be in Washington DC at a legislative conference.
3. Yeah.
4 board members total missing. Counting Commissioner Bartley.
My have you.
Well, we could have would the alternate be here, the county commission alternate?
Well,
Or would he be gone also?
Possibility, yes. He could be here.
I'm pretty sure he's on a township board, isn't he? Larry Jensen? White, whichever township's white.
He could be.
He's in Aurora Township.
Is he in Aurora Township?
We would have to ask him.
Yeah, he lives in
Yeah,
Aurora,
Larry
but he's
is in
fireman in
Aurora.
white.
Claremont.
As long as we have a minimum of 6, we can still have the meeting as long as we have 6 people here.
Yeah, but I
But,
really hate to have a meeting when there's only 6 people, because one no vote basically throws out.
Right.
Why don't the staff, why don't you work those details out and let us know?
Well, if we have to reschedule, what do you want to be rescheduled at? That would be the question.
A week later.
Yeah, I think we should just reschedule it, and it would be the 5th, so I'd say the 12th. Everybody
Just
else is-
FYI, the county commissioners likely will be going to the county commissioners, so you'd be missing Mr. Bartley, and then that conference I just told you about will either be the next day or else the Thursday there. So just as a heads up, I think that part, it may be relevant to know what's ours. Anyway, just wanted to point that out.
I got that was a commission meeting. That's Tuesday. Tuesday's a county commission meeting. 13th and 14th is Wednesday and a Thursday.
right, they would probably leave that night or afternoon to go out there though.
That's,
Well, usually they leave on the morning of the 13th. From what I,
What about the following Thursday after the township board meeting?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that 2 days later?
7th?
no, it would be the 7th.
You got your flight already, are we back?
Yeah, we'll be back in less than
6th.
Yeah. We're scheduled to be back no later than 11 p.m. on the 6th.
Thursday night of the same week?
I'm not gonna be able to make it, I know, but
There's a possibility I might be out of the country in the month of March, but.
Why not the following Tuesday?
We'll be at pier for the county commissioners. So both are on
Irregardless, there's gonna be conflicts.
I'd say just have it the 12th, because Mr. Mueller's thing's not going to be till the 14th anyway, more than likely for the planners.
and even if it's the 13th, it will not be until the afternoon.
Yeah.
They don't want to feed you guys.
And we would not go out, that would be a one-day trip, by the way. The thing Mr. Mueller was talking about, a meeting in Pier, that would be, we would leave that morning and come back that night, whatever time it was. There's no overpaying for rooms, to me.
Well, tentatively, should we look at the 12th then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and Mr. Hagen, do you have anything? No. Okay, board have anything else? We need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Motion by McHugh,
Second.
second by Bartley. Motion, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
oh, thanks.